Get ready for one of the most intense and emotional debates of our time, the Palestine versus Israel war. Backed by powerful insights from top AI chatbots, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and DeepSeek, this debate brings you logical, well-researched viewpoints from both sides of a conflict that has shaken the world for decades. Two speakers will face off across 5 heated rounds, with only 1 minute each per round to present their strongest argument. From history and politics to human rights and global impact, every angle is on the table. This isn't just a debate, it's a bold dive into one of the most complex and controversial issues in modern history. Get ready to question what you know and rethink what you believe. Let's get into it and let the battle begin. Round 1.
Israel is the ancient homeland of the Jewish people, archaeologically, religiously, and historically. Jews have had a continuous presence there for over 3,000 years. After the Holocaust, the world finally acknowledged their right to self-determination. In 1947, the UN proposed a two-state plan. Jews accepted, Arabs didn't. Israel declared independence and was immediately attacked. Israel didn't take land. It survived war, and every war since has been started by those who refused to accept its existence. Palestinians were offered peace and statehood multiple times. In 2000, 2008, and again, and they said no. This isn't about land anymore, it's about ideology. Israel has a right to exist and defend itself. It's a legal state, internationally recognized and here to stay.
Palestine was never a blank land waiting for someone to claim it. It was full of people, culture, families who were displaced, bombed, and erased. In 1948, over 700,000 Palestinians were expelled and what we call the Nakba villages destroyed. People made refugees overnight. The UN plan was forced without our consent. Since then, Israel has expanded far beyond what was granted, stealing land, demolishing homes, and building illegal settlements. Gaza is a prison. The West Bank is cut to pieces. Israel calls this self-defense. But how is stealing land and oppressing a people defensive? Palestinians are fighting for land that was theirs, not for ideology, for dignity, for return, for justice. The right to resist occupation is basic. This is stolen land.
Round 2.
You talk about 1948 but ignore what led to it. Arab armies invading after rejecting a peaceful two-state solution. That war wasn't started by Jews, and yes, people fled, as happens in every war, but many also left because Arab leaders told them to, thinking they'd return after victory. That didn't happen. Blame the leaders who gambled with lives. Gaza isn't occupied. Israel left in 2005 and was rewarded with rockets from Hamas. In the West Bank, Israel protects its citizens. It's not perfect, but it's not apartheid. Arabs in Israel vote, hold office, serve on the Supreme Court. If Palestinians wanted peace, they'd stop raising kids to hate Jews, stop celebrating terrorism, and accept Israel's existence. But they won't.
You blame Arab leaders, but ignore the fact that Israel was built through force and expulsion. The UN plan gave over half the land to a minority Jewish population. That's not fair. When people resisted colonization, they were painted as aggressors. And Gaza? Israel controls its borders, airspace, sea. That's occupation, even if soldiers aren't inside. As for rockets, why are people shocked that an occupied, blockaded population resists? Israel has tanks, drones, and an army. The Palestinians have rocks and homemade weapons. You mentioned Arabs in Israel, but they are second-class citizens. Meanwhile, millions of Palestinians can't return to the land their grandparents were forced off. The issue isn't hate, it's justice. Israel was created through ethnic cleansing and it continues today.
Round 3.
If this was about land, Palestinians would have accepted the offers they got. But every time, Camp David, Olmer plan, they walked away. Why? Because they don't want peace with a Jewish state. Hamas's charter calls for Israel's destruction. They indoctrinate kids with martyrdom, not coexistence. You say occupation, but every time Israel leaves land, it gets attacked. Why should Israel trust anyone who celebrates stabbing civilians and calls it resistance? This is about survival. Jews were slaughtered for centuries. Now we defend ourselves and suddenly we're the problem? No. Israel fights because it has to, not because it wants to.
Don't twist it. Israel's offers were full of loopholes. No full sovereignty, no right of return, fragmented land. It's like offering someone a cage and calling it freedom. As for violence, it's the language of the unheard. Israel bombs cities, kills journalists, jails children, And you call that self-defense? You want to talk about Hamas? Fine. But Israel empowered Hamas by weakening the moderates. This is a cycle that suits Israel. Keep Gaza violent, keep the West afraid, and keep the world distracted. Palestinians have been dehumanized, labeled terrorists just for fighting back. You don't want peace, you want submission.
Round 4.
The ethical reality is simple. Israel values life. It warns civilians before strikes, uses defense systems, and tries to avoid war. Hamas hides behind children, fires from schools, and uses civilians as shields. One side builds hospitals, the other uses them to store weapons. You talk justice, but where's the justice in stabbing grandmothers, shooting civilians, or teaching kids to die for martyrdom? Israel is a democracy. Palestinians deserve a state, yes, but not at the cost of Israel's existence. Peace comes through recognition, not war. You can't build a country while trying to destroy another.
Israel bombs entire apartment buildings and calls it precision. Over 30,000 Palestinians have died in Gaza. How ethical is that? This isn't war, it's disproportionate slaughter. Israel has technology, power, media, and still plays the victim. The oppressed don't owe ethics to their oppressors. Israel speaks of peace but expands settlements, steals water, arrests children without trial. Where's the morality in bulldozing homes? Palestinians are human beings, not obstacles. Israel's actions are not self-defense, they're systemic domination. If you want ethics, stop the occupation. Justice isn't negotiable.
Round 5.
In the end, Israel is a legitimate sovereign nation that wants peace but refuses to die for it. It exists by right, not by force. Jews returned to their homeland after centuries of exile and persecution and built a thriving democratic state. Every nation deserves security, especially one that's been attacked over and over. If Palestinians truly want peace, they need to stop glorifying terror, stop rejecting negotiations, and start building, not blaming. The land is shared history, but Israel's existence is non-negotiable. Peace is possible, but only if both sides recognize each other's right to live.
Israel was built on stolen land and still thrives on theft. Recognition must be mutual. But Palestinians were never given a choice. We live in cages, while Israelis build walls and call it defense. There can be no peace without justice, no justice without return, freedom, and dignity. The world has allowed occupation to go on too long. Being powerful doesn't make you right. It just means you're unchecked. Now, this isn't about religion, it's about rights. Palestine is real, our struggle is real, and no amount of walls or weapons can erase the truth. This land is ours.
That's the debate. Both sides have presented their arguments, but the discussion doesn't stop here. Laws and perspectives are constantly evolving, and it's up to us to stay informed and think critically. What's your take? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep debating.